Yeah! Yes! And slip you some boogie we willeth for the Fringe FM. Coming at you live from the middle of nowhere, the center of everywhere, here once again to give you yet another scrumptulescent dose of conversational boogie. This is... Bada boom. Shift happens. That's right, we're back. Had a week off. Long story. No time for it. And we're here tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with guerrilla novelist Casper Parks and his new book that just came out a little while ago, Accidental Destiny. Long time in the works. And we'll get to that in just a little bit here. Hey, what's happening, everybody in the chat room? Mike, I see you made it. You made it with no confusion. Fantastic. Cat. K28, of course, always coming in first in the chat room. Dragon Rose, what's happening? By the way, I'm going to take you up on your offer. I might see you out there this fall. How about that? Got a whole crew ready to go for that expedition. And also over in the Discord, who's over there? Salcido. I think I always mispronounce your name, right? It's not Salcido. Actually, that's not even you. Oh, it is Salcido. Okay, sorry about that. And I'll tell you what, if you're going to be in the Discord, try to make your name not blue. It doesn't blend in with the background. I have to, look over here. Sir Flyzik. See? I had to do that whole thing. But, yeah, what's up, Flyzik? Salcido. Good to see you guys. Good to be back. Good to be back. You know, I made a huge mistake. I put my microphone right in the middle of my mixer board. Anyway. Oh, I did. So that is how you pronounce it. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Anyway, we're joined here tonight with certainly no stranger to the show. You know him from the Reperceptions podcast, as well as if you've gone to dirty enough places on Discord, you've probably run into this guy. You know him. You love him. JP from the Reperception podcast. What's happening, my friend?
Dude, thank you for having me on. I'm glad to be here. The chat room is ridiculous already, and I'm looking forward to this show. Casper's awesome. But I've changed websites, so I'm gonna have to. I keep forgetting to get you those details. But so I have a whole new project I'm starting, and my website's 80% done, and it's not like the easiest name ever, but it's xyorigin.xyz, and it has a lot of my Reperception stuff on it. Anyway, I'll make sure everybody gets a link to that at some point, but I'm just here wondering what in the world is gonna happen. There's some new mandates, I guess, I don't know, mandates, recommendations, who knows, that go into effect Saturday, tomorrow, here in California, and I'm not too happy about it. And guess what? I went to the pool supply store the other day, and the guy working there was on the same page as me. It never happens out in the wild anymore. Like, I don't run into people who think on their feet, and this guy was totally with it, and gave me some nice encouragement to really not give a shift what happens out in the wild, and I'm just going to start telling people what I think, and it's kind of a disgrace, and I think more people are going to be kind of upset when all this stuff goes down. But anyways, not to get too political.
Yeah,
that's what I am.
Well, too late. We're gonna, first of all, XY examine your URL, and then second of all, what's going down this Saturday? I know that the masks are coming back, right? Or is that what you're talking about, or is there something else going down?
No, that's what I'm going with. To me, that's enough. That's enough BS for 1 week, and that's happening where you go into a store, and if you want to go into their store, you're going to have to be wearing the face diaper or whatever it is. I don't even know what the heck it is. It's just ridiculous. I'd rather put a Dixie cup on my face Those look better. Or a muzzle, a horse muzzle.
Yeah, something. And yeah, it's I've talked about it many times. I was, I'm about to move. By the way, so I'm about to move back to Austin next month. I forget, I'd have to check my calendar here, but whichever Friday. Actually, you know what? Let's figure this out together. Let's figure this out together. So, okay. So, Friday, August 20th, because I know we have some listeners out there in Austin. Me and the whole Anti-Ed crew, not only Friday, but also Monday. There's 2 different days. We're going to go out to 6th Street. There's so many comedy clubs that are packed with some of the world's greatest stand-up comedians. And if you want to come meet us and hang out with us and go see some proper stand-up comedy and you're in the Austin area, mark that on your calendar. Friday's going to be fun, but honestly, I think Monday is going to be the best because we're going to go see Kill Tony at the Vulcan and Gas Company there in Austin, which is, if you don't know what Kill Tony is, it's just go look it up. It is fantastic. Tony Hinchcliffe's live podcast that he does. I kind of barely want to call it a podcast, but
I don't know if you've ever been to a live podcast, Gigi, but I have in Vegas, and it's really fun. I really enjoy it. Actually, I did one in a live podcast. I don't know if you've ever seen Getting High with Doug. I don't think that's on anymore. But
well, it's Getting Doug with High, isn't it?
Getting Doug with High. What did I say? I say it the wrong way? Oh my God! Getting Doug with High. My bad. How dare I? And that was amazing. That was in Michigan, of all places. So I've seen some great live. Have you ever gone to a live podcast recording?
Well, this is a little different. This is, technically they put it out in the form of a video podcast, but it's basically, a bunch of professional comedians. They always have a guest. Like last week they had Ron White. A couple weeks before that they had Joe Rogan as one of the guests on the panel. So they have this panel and a bunch of local wannabe comedians. They put their name into a bucket and they draw a name. You get to come up on stage and try out 1 minute of your stand-up material, and then the panel just roasts you into oblivion, unless you're good, unless you actually do good. But most people suck, and which is understandable. Stand-up comedy is a pretty hard gig to get good at, and you never know what's going to happen on there. It's my favorite thing to watch, period. And yeah, so like I said, we'll be there that Friday on the 20th, but that Monday we're going to be at the Vulcan and Gas Company for Kill Tony. So definitely come out if you can. But it's funny, like I was going to say, I was planning on moving back to California until there's a lot of different factors.
If this thing gets out of control, there won't be those sort of, we're just getting back into those sort of kind of get-togethers, like the one you want to, I don't want it just seems like such a tease, and then to have it all come back, and then what's next? Who knows what's next? That's all I'm saying. It's just a mask. It's just a little diaper for your face, but what's next, Gigi?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, and you guys, it's no secret how much I hate the state of Texas, but damn, if there's one thing they got right, it's nobody has to wear masks anywhere. That's not a thing unless you go into a hospital. They still enforce that there, but everywhere else, nobody gives a shift, and everybody's kind of, not worried about it. And so I really do appreciate that. They just need to step up their game when it comes to the marijuana situation. Isn't that crazy? Like, you're allowed to not only bear arms, I think they're passing a bill. They're passing a bill now in Texas to where you don't even have to have it registered. You can just have one. You can buy it from anywhere and just have one coming up pretty soon. So you can do all that. You can shoot somebody on your front yard without warning. Yet,
That's it.
You better not be smoking a joint while you do it, or else you're going to jail, my friend. Unless you live in the great city of Austin, where they have decriminalized such nonsense. So, which is where I'm moving. So there you go. And be enough about that. Quick shout out to Brad. He wanted to be here tonight, our associate producer. Y'all know him, ADS Brad Harris on Twitter. Couldn't be here tonight, but he gives his hellos. And real quick announcement. I'm not sure if you guys have heard. I'm not sure who else. I don't even know if they've announced it, but I'm going to go ahead and announce it. So the good folks over there at the Conscious Life Expo, not only are they having their conference in February, as always, but they're having a bit of a surprise conference this coming September, about 2 months from now. So it's not that far away. And it's interesting because it's going to be live at the Hilton LAX, as always, but it's also simultaneously, there's going to be another conference under the same name at the Hilton Metropole in London for all of you UK folks. And even if you can't make it, they're both versions of the conference are going to be live streamed and simulcast around the world. And that is from September 17th to the 19th. I'm not sure who else in the crew is going to be there, but I'm going to be there. I'm pretty sure Brad's going to be there. And JP, you're going to be there, right?
This is going to be a nice return. I haven't been there in 15 years or more. So, yeah, for sure. This year it's on.
Absolutely. And we got some other Fringe FM folks coming out there. And we're going to have a presence there as well as a whole. And it's just going to be a lot of fun, a lot of knowledge drops. And trust me, it's this and Contact in the Desert. Those are the two ones you want to go to. And luckily, this year round, you have 2 different Conscious Life Expos. So go to consciouslifeexpo.com, find out all the information, get your tickets, figure out where you're going to stay, and get that planned. It's only 2 months away. So there you go, consciouslifeexpo.com. And yeah, I know that's pretty much it for the announcements. I don't know. What do you think? You got anything else, or should we? What do you think?
Well, J-Ron will be staying at the Hilton Laxative, otherwise known as the Hilton by LAX. I hope that's what he said.
I noticed. Yeah, and
it's a dump, J-Ron. No, it's no joke. It's a dump. If you haven't been to LA in a few years, just wear nose plugs and dark sunglasses. You'll be all right.
Yeah, well, that's why the good thing about the Hilton LAX and that conference is it's all inside. You don't really have to go outside. So just kind of stay in there and stay away from all that madness going on just outside of that building.
It's pretty bad. I had an office in this one section of downtown LA that it's pretty close to Skid Row anyways, so it had that element. But where my office was, there was always like this very clear divide when it came to the homeless. Like they were very kind of in one area, and the police do whatever police do and kind of keep them corralled over in this one area. But it's insane how things have changed in just the short period of time. Just the whole area is like a tent city, and it's sad and it's difficult for locals and probably visitors to LA. It's not always a pretty sight, and right now it's not that pretty of a sight. I wish I could say more for it, but a lot of parts of LA are developing because they made a lot of money apparently last year when commerce was down. Go figure.
Right.
But a lot of these places, it's amazingly the city is actually building up in some respects. There's that huge divide though of where all the money is and where all the money is not.
I can't wait to see what happens if Caitlyn Jenner becomes governor. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen then? Yeah, I don't know, but I got a lot of friends in the valley up there. And between NoHo and whatchamacallit, the San Fernando Valley out there.
That's right.
And last night, because I used to live right off Lancashire, right there.
Right.
Like that was I would skate down to one store, skate to the other, skate back home. It was all skating distance. And but now I hear it's just all tents all
I'm
up and
pretty
down
sure I
Lancashire.
almost ran you over once.
You
I'm
might
pretty
have.
sure.
You might have. I've been
There,
almost run over many times, and
yes, but yeah, the tents over there are bad too. Yeah, it is. There's not a crevice of L.A. and the suburbs that haven't seen a real exponential increase in that. So yeah, it's things have changed, and that's why it what may seem like kind of an inane minor detail, to me it's everything. It's everything and more. And so anyways, come to LA. I look forward to that. Anyway, when is the convention again?
it's September 17th through the 19th.
Okay, I'll be there.
Yeah, that Friday through the Sunday. And, speaking of almost getting run over on Lancashire in North Hollywood and the Conscious Life Expo, here's a fun fact. About 3 or 4 years ago, probably 4 years ago, I was in North Hollywood 2 days before the Conscious Life Expo, just killing some time before the conference, and I was skating down Lancashire, and some guy ran a red light while I was skating across the street, so I had to dodge his car. I slipped and I broke my arm right there on Lancashire. My good friend Aaron Holland came and picked me up, and so yeah, it's kind of funny how those two topics kind of come together there, Right, and then I showed up to Conscious Life Expo in a cast. So there you go. True story, folks. True story. All right, with that
happened to good people.
Yeah, only the best people. And see, Stephanie's going to be there. And what else did you say? She said, "That's right. Yeah." She says, "I had a great time with Gigi at the L.A. Hilton. We watched Bohemian Rhapsody and drank Crown Royal. That's exactly what we did." And that's right. Because Stephanie won one of the free passes that we gave away that year. And we'll be doing the same this year. So definitely stay tuned as the conference comes closer. And you might get yourself a free Boogie Woogie pass if you play your cards right. You know what I'm saying? So there you go. There you go. And Gigi, you need a book of epic booms. Not sure exactly what that means, but probably. Yeah, probably. It sounds like something I would need. All right, well, without any further ado whatsoever, also, no stranger to this show, the most frequent guest that we've ever had these last 5 years of this show. That is one other thing I did want to announce real quick is I've been telling you guys about the name change. We have to start a new show and that whole thing. Well, it turns out it looks like we don't really have to. So that's right. Shift happens for now and forever. So don't worry about any of that. You can still follow us at Shift Happens Pod. Get there while you can status. A huge stress reliever for me and everybody on the team here. Very, very cool. So, all right, and that's it. And with that, let's bring on our guest tonight. Like I said, the most frequent guest on the show. We try to have him on every 3 or 4 months for an edition of Feeling the Pulse of Society, which we might do a little bit of that tonight. But first and foremost, he's got a brand new book out called Accidental Destiny, and we're going to get right into that. Ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him, the guerrilla novelist, Casper Parks. What's happening, my friend?
Hey, doing all right. Can you guys? Hopefully, everybody can hear me all right.
Loud and clear.
Back and forth on the mic, so
loud and clear.
But loud and clear. Yeah, I started working this book probably around like 87, 88 on and off, and I actually did a synopsis for it and everything else like in 1989, 1990, and I sit down and start writing it, and then Perceptual Threshold popped out. Then I gotta get back to the Accidental Destiny, so sit down and work on it. And then Taken popped out, which I now call Restoring. It's a screenplay. I don't know if I ever turn it into a novel. But every time I sat down to write this particular story, another story would pop out, and I put this one on hold. So it's been over 30 years in the making. But it's basically a disgraced former DEA agent who flew illegal drugs back and forth between south of the border in the U.S., de-age and something goes wrong, blah blah blah, and ends up losing everything and his dead partner. And then years later, he's managing a rehearsal studio in Los Angeles, which I did do. So that pulls a little bit from that, a lot from that actually. And the son of his dead partner graduates the academy and is in the undercover band that are trying to bring a new designer drug called Prompt off the streets before it goes nationwide. And they run into something, of course, far more dangerous than just the drug. That's like the least of their problems. But that's what they start out investigating and get all caught up in something else. But yeah, 30 years in the making. This is a rock and roll novel, make no mistake. I pay tribute to a lot of classic rock in here, whether it's the Cult or Tommy James and the Shondells, America, Linda Ronstadt, whoever. A lot of tribute to classic rock bands in there, and I did a lot of tributes to indie artists in there as well, and where I'll work a song into a sentence or a paragraph of the book. And to me, that was really important thing to do, to kind of show a tribute to everybody and give the story a rock and roll feel. So, but it's a pretty good story. But like I said, the music industry's changed a lot from when I was in it in the 80s and early mid 90s.
Yeah.
It's not the same beast as it was then. Because I managed a rehearsal studio on roughly 7th Santa Fe in Los Angeles. So I know what Skid Row's like, JP.
Yeah.
I was right there, and the thing when you bring that up, there's an
Casper, real quick, just to clarify, I'm not sure. So, were you an artist? Were you in? What was your role in the music industry? Like, what were you doing?
I started out as a roadie.
Nice.
Then I did lighting tech and stage management, and a little bit of sound. Because of my hearing impairment, I'm not really super good with sound. Better than a lot of people, but maybe not anymore. My hearing's gotten worse. But then I managed a rehearsal studio in Los Angeles for 5 years, on-site manager. Blind Melon came through my doors. Bands like that, some small bands nobody's ever heard of. Doesn't mean they weren't any good. But yes, I pulled a lot from my experience as managing a rehearsal studio, and incorporated that into the story, because you don't always pull from what you've experienced in real life when you write a book. In this case, I did, and I said this before in the show, that the story's taken so long because I'm too close to it. And I think that because it took place in a rehearsal studio in music, made me a little bit too close to it, because I did that for so long. So maybe I was a little too close to the story. I'm about 25,800 words into the second book in the series. And that'll end at around 95,000 words. This book here, Accidental Destiny, is around 105,000 something words. So it's a full-length novel. Paperbacks at Amazon are $14.50. Ebook everywhere is 99 cents. If you go to CasperParks.com, you can click on the link.
Go download that.
Yeah, that's right, ladies and gentlemen.
99 cents, people. That's not bad.
Right now, for a limited time only, it's 99 cents for the ebook version. Get there while you can, and this is. And we gotta cut to a commercial break here in just a second. But I do want to say this is something we've, like you said, this is almost 3 decades of work has gone into this novel. This is your longest running project that you put a lot of time into, and we've hinted at it a couple of times over the years, and now it's
Casper. We got to get that title in before we go to break.
Yeah.
It's Accidental Destiny. If you go to CasperParks.com, there's a link right there. You click on the book cover. It'll take you to links to download the ebook. The paperback will be available at Barnes & Noble sometime in August. Right now, the paperback's only available to Amazon, so I apologize. But it is available globally. So if you're in the UK, you can order it there. If you're in Australia, you can get it there. Canada, everything. So, this book is available across the globe. So, But yeah, I mean, this book was written for this type of audience that we're listening to. And there's dashes of Globy Tepe in there, just a dash. There's some MK Ultra in there, a dash. But yeah. I mean, there's stuff in that book that people, that audiences like the ones that listen to these type of shows, will understand, and other people won't. But we got a break, so.
Absolutely, yeah, and yeah, I mean, that's the thing with Casper's books. If you've read any of them, you know that. Well, actually, I'm curious if it takes. You know what? We'll save that. We'll save that because we have to run to a commercial break right this very now, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to the wrong track. What? Okay, you are listening to Shift Happens here. Go ahead, Casper. You're listening to Shift Happens here for the Fringe FM. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our co-host, JP, and we're here tonight with guerrilla novelist Casper Parks, and we're talking about his new book, Accidental Destiny, which covers so many bases that there's not enough on one baseball field. All right, don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be right back.
Why is it we're not very good with our health regimen until it's too late? We don't put oil in the car until the engine blows up. When the body's out of balance, your health is not so good. Give your body some love. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. Try our Life Change Tea, which cleanses you from harmful intruders. A clean colon is one of the ways to bring the body in balance. We also carry organic supplements to help you get where you need to go. So do your body a favor. Log on to GetTheT.com. That's GetTheT.com. You can even visit our sales page to save some dough. Does anybody call money dough anymore? Anyway, if you're looking for short, helpful health tips, go to YouTube and punch in Health Matters Now. That's Health Matters Now. So, log on to GetTheT.com, shop, get balanced, then learn some cool tips at Health Matters Now. You'll be glad you did. That's GetTheT.com.
From birth, we have been conditioned to conform to what is normal, conditioned to adhere to authority, and conditioned to repeat what has been told to us as truth. I'm Ryan Gable, and here at the Secret Teachings Radio, I've interviewed hundreds of great guests and done extensive unique research into subjects that span from the paranormal and the occult to health, philosophy, and history. I personally have no affiliations or agenda, except to use objective critical thinking in my analysis of every subject discussed, to empower myself with information and hopefully allow you to do the same. If you want to join me, tune into the Secret Teachings radio broadcast, airing live Monday through Friday from midnight to 3 a.m. U.S. Pacific Standard Time on the Fringe FM. For more information, you can visit our website at www.thesecretteachings.info or email me at rdgable@yahoo.com.
Pure Health Defenders, proud sponsor of Shift Happens, producing organic and natural health, wellness, and technology products for people, pets, and plants to thrive alive. Pure Health Defenders, also known as PhD, is powered by C7 Technology, Scalar Energy, Atomic Technology, and fueled by Sea Miracle Superfoods. 118 nutrients of the purest sea vegetables Mother Earth has to offer. Recognized 100% by people, pets, and plants, delivering the value the same. Everybody deserves a PhD. Be smart about it. Come join the healthiest families today.
Kids, don't drink and park. Accidents cause people. This has been a PSA brought to you by your friends at Shift Happens and The Fringe FM.
Ew, yuck. They're unhealthy and gross. Bugs, I hate bugs. We keep a clean home, but occasionally bugs show up. Well, I found something that is tougher than bugs. Orange Guard. From contact, it kills bugs. Plus, Orange Guard kills hidden bugs and keeps new bugs away for weeks. I know. I use Orange Guard. Plus, all of the ingredients of Orange Guard are on the FDA generally regarded as safe list. Orange Guard may be used around food, humans, and pets. It promotes a healthier planet, and here's a bonus. Orange Guard cleans where it's sprayed. Plus, it comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee. Orange Guard.
You can get Orange Guard at Ace Hardware. And listen, folks, Orange Guard is tougher than bugs, and it's safe to use. Go to orangeguard.com. That's orangeguard.com.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting. We rock the paranormal talk.
Welcome back to the Fringe FM. This is Shift Happens. I'm your host, GG, along with our co-host for the evening, our good friend JP from the... What the hell is your new website called?
xyorigin.xyz. Very easy. Rolls right off the tongue.
You know, I've always wondered, like, how... So, does that mean you're not doing reperceptions anymore, that website?
Well, if you missed it, don't worry. I'm porting all that stuff over to this site, but I have a whole new project called Origin Story, and that'll be on YouTube. That's my channel name, Origin Story, and I got some good things going on there. I haven't really posted any of the videos. They're still being edited, but I've got a bunch of stuff I'm working on, so it's coming soon.
All right. Well, yeah, because I always wondered, like, how did you get... I was always surprised that you actually got the name Reperception. Because usually when you think of a good name and you look it up, it's already taken. Which is a struggle we just went through when we thought we had to change the name. So I'm curious. Were you the first one to come up with that? That wasn't already taken?
Yeah, it came from an old idea, actually from an old song, and there was a lyric that I liked about reassessing the world, and I couldn't find anything close to reassess or, and I just kept thinking, and almost every podcast I listen to, without fail, because I do listen to a certain, sort of narrative, if you will, I always hear the word perception, and I thought, wow, well, what if we could maybe take a re-examination of it. Anyways, it turns out that word actually is used in psychology, but reperception has to do more with hallucination than in fact it does really kind of taking a deeper look at what you perceive. And so I wasn't sure if it actually fit what I was trying to say. It's a weird word, and some people really liked it. I had really positive feedback. I just don't know if it was saying what I wanted to say. But I worked on it for a good year and a half. I got a bunch. I worked mostly on my blog, but I interviewed some great people. Probably like not the best, but like the top flat Earth guy out there. Dave Weiss came on my show. I interviewed a bunch of really cool people. I just I didn't know where else to go. I had written in my blog what I wanted to say, but this story that I'm into now has been itching at me for a long time. So I have a lot more vested interest, I guess you could say, in that origin story.
Yeah.
I'm gonna jump in.
Yeah.
My first novel that I wrote was Perceptional Threshold.
Nice.
The word, the term, and that book has a lot of errors in it, but we'll circle back to that in a second with how it ties into my current novel because they're interlinked. Perceptional threshold is a psychology term. It's the doorway that you enter when you're sleeping. You go into REM sleep. That's a perceptional threshold.
Had you heard of the word reperception used at all?
No, I hadn't. And
so it's very
I do like that. Titles and names are important, whether it's the title of a song, a book, a film, television. It's important because the people have to be able to recall it and remember it, make it easy to remember.
Yeah.
So when you're writing a book, I'm always trying to be real fussy with my titles. And I try not to use a title that somebody else has already used. Accidental Destiny is used by one other author, I think. But I was writing mine first. I wasn't going to change it. 30 years in the making, over 30 years in the making. So, it's like titles to me are really important. But Perceptional Threshold and Age and Accidental Destiny take place at the same time frame, and the stories intersect with each other. So if somebody read Perceptional Threshold, the aftermath of that, part of the aftermath takes place in the later part of Accidental Destiny. However, the primary characters for Accidental Destiny are not aware of the ghost plane of existence where God trapped the fallen angels, or / mutated soldiers, or any of that. It's just the stories are taking place simultaneously together, and so they intersect. And Coming from Darkness, for example, which takes place in the near future, which is kind of like a tribulation story, but from a secular perspective, where biochips rounding up former alien abductees into internment camps. That's what Coming from Darkness is. But in Coming from Darkness, you had Benson, who changed his name to Yaron, Franks, Conrad, Richards, and Reverend Johnson or whatever. In Coming from Darkness, they have a huge stash of guns at Moontown at their camp up in the wilderness where they're trying to keep away from the New World Order, more or less. And Accidental Destiny, you find out where they got those guns. But that's not the story for Accidental Destiny. It just intersects with each other. And I don't want to do a lot of spoilers on the story. But Conrad, Franks, and Richards show up, and Benson / Yaron show up at Accidental Destiny. So I knew Benson was going to be there, but I wasn't aware that the other three were going to show up in there until I started actually writing it again. And the stories intersect with each other. So and I think that's important. It's like when JP was talking about the homeless situation. That in the story, that's in the background. I mean, they're driving through it, they think about it, they talk about it, that kind of thing. And what's weird with synchronicity, JP, is on CNN Business today, they had an article on here, and nowhere in the country can anybody afford a 1-bedroom apartment on $7.25 an hour. Okay, and according to their statistics, to get a 1-bedroom apartment right now anywhere in the country, because you have to have 3 times the rent. Okay, to rent a place, $20.40 an hour is what you have to make. For a 2-bedroom, you need $24.90. I'm looking right at the article. So, but yeah. So, but when I write the stories like this, I try to make it as believable as possible, where they can say, "Yeah, we see the homeless problem there." And keep in mind, I've been writing this thing for over 30 years, so I had that in there before. But I lived in LA and I saw the homeless problem, and I knew it was going to get worse. And it has gotten really bad because people can't afford. A lot of these homeless people are working. They just can't afford to rent a place. And,
a lot of
California is really bad.
Yeah. Well, there is the element of people out there that are choosing. They feel, they claim to be happier. I don't know long term how that works out for them, but there is that a really big element of people who are just, they're Uber driving. They're figuring out how to live in their car. They're like doing everything they can so that they don't get stuck with $1,000 bill every month just to live in a little box. It is sad, but we saw it coming. You're right. I lived in Santa Monica a good 10 years ago, and I was in a rent-controlled apartment situation, and probably could have, duked it out with the owner and made a life out of it at a very good, very good rental price. But, the place really disgusted me. It was known, Santa Monica was known as the home of the homeless, both in joking and by some serious minds out there. And I saw the writing was on the wall, Casper. I got away from there, but I'm still kind of got my left foot still stuck in it.
Yeah, it's like with this book now, The Accidental Desk, I try where people can read it, and like with any of my stories, and Gigi knows this too, that I'll throw predictions in there for the future.
Yeah.
Like I'll put it in the background of like a newscast, and so that's kind of is I'll put it in the background of a newscast. With the story here, I wanted to have you got your element of drama where you have a disgraced drug enforcement agent being Ephraim Tolliver. This is the first book in the series, and drug deal going bad, his partner's killed. He ends up losing everything and stumbles into the music industry and ends up in LA after touring for a number of years. Then of course he gets roped in by a retired official from the DEA to take his band under his wings, as they're trying to take this illegal designer drug Prompt off the street. And coming from darkness, I make mention of the drug Prompt, by the way. So I always try to be several steps ahead.
Can you give us a sneak peek at what this drug does?
It's kind of like ecstasy, but 100 or 1,000 times more potent.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, it's only showing up in L.A. During the flux of the story. It's only showing up in Los Angeles, and it'll be on the street for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it'll be gone for 2 months, and then it'll be back again. So it keeps on staggering out. The investigation gets dragged out like from March through the first week of November of a year, because the drug keeps popping in and off, in and off, in and off.
Now I'm curious if call me crazy, but I was, it was 1995 was a wild year for me. I was younger, and I was, and what I remember is that you could get really good ecstasy at that time. And what I noticed happening, and I wasn't a part of that culture, I wasn't a raver, I just know it was a growing thing. And one thing, I never met one of those ravers that I disliked. They were always fun, they were in good moods, people were gathering in big groups, as you recall maybe. It was a really interesting time. In 1995 was a great year for that. It was a lot of closeness, but it was shut down, and probably within a year of that time, that whole scene came to a screeching halt. Maybe a couple years after that, it was really impacted. Of course, by the laws changed. It was a Schedule I deal. But I'm just curious: is any of that, some sort of that period of time an inspiration to you and this story at all? Or
I think so. I mean, ecstasy eats a hole in your brain. Literally, it does. It eats a hole in the brain. I mean, it's a bad drug.
But that hole is repairable, according to my doctor brother.
What, GG?
I don't know. So my stepbrother, champion of World Series poker on national television, all that. He's also a doctor. One of the most, he's so intelligent, it's stupid. It's not even fair. But, we were having a talk one time, and he was saying, obviously every drug or substance has some sort of, lasting effect on you. And he was like, if there was one drug I would take, it would be ecstasy, because even though, like you just said, it burrows a little hole in part of your brain, it's actually fully repairable as long as you don't keep doing it.
Yeah, and I've seen ecstasy ruin lives.
Oh, for sure.
Personal lives. I've seen it ruin personal lives. So
absolutely.
Along with crystal meth, coke, everything.
Oh, well, those are much worse.
But yeah, with Prompt in the story, I really wrote that before ecstasy was going really big, because I put Prompt into Coming from Darkness in 93 or 94. So I guess ecstasy was around then. But yeah, Prompt is it's a designer drug that stimulates, it makes everything. So if someone's eating, it'll taste so good they keep eating till their stomach bursts. That kind of thing. It's just so look at okay, I want to keep drinking this certain drink because it tastes so good, and because they're on Prompt, they'll just keep going and going and going, and they just can't stop. They end up salivating until they're dehydrated. People are dying. But it's a designer drug, and of course the band and Ephraim have to figure out where the drug's coming from, who's manufacturing it, what's the chemical makeup of the drug. And in the drug, there's an unknown element that they can't figure out what it is. So it was created by a pharmaceutical genius, and who put it on the street, and why did they put it on the street, and who's making money from it.
Yeah.
And again, I pull a lot from history, and I don't want to do spoilers. That's what I don't really want to do. But there was crack cocaine, for example, the history of how that got on the streets of LA.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of where that started. And we'll leave it at that. Who put it there, who developed it.
Pretty well known story.
I'm okay. So I just want to make. So is there an upside to any of this, or is this just like a dark take on? I'm just trying to get your mindset here. Was there a positive influence here, or was it all negative, all black, all controlled, and just part of some bigger psyop from the beginning?
Some bigger thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bigger thing. It's a far bigger thing. No
doubt LSD was no different.
Right.
Yeah. And I mean, you had was it Timothy Leary with the LSD? I think it was.
Yeah, Timothy Leary.
Yeah. But it was all part of rock and roll, but it was institutionalized. It was where was it coming from? Berkeley and all these universities.
There are some solid CIA connections with that man. If you look into what's that guy's name, Tom O'Neill, he wrote a whole book about. Anyway, let's. I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of. At least they're legalizing cannabis now around the country. There's legislation. They're trying to introduce it. To legalize it at the federal level, so people can stop using cash at these recreational cannabis stores and start using their debit cards, because recreational cannabis stores are getting robbed all over the country because they got cash on hand.
Right.
That needs to get fixed.
Yeah.
I'm an advocate for cannabis. I mean, when in the early '90s, I was managing a band, some friends' band, Mr. Ectomy. And they played at the couple times on the steps of the federal building in downtown LA, to legalize hemp, quotation marks. So I met Jack Hara, and I don't think Jack Hara gets enough credit now. He's deceased, I believe, but he doesn't get enough credit for everything that he did for trying to legalize it. And I think he passed before we got to where we are today with it. But yeah, but prop's something that should never be legal. It's a made-up drug. It doesn't really exist. I don't know where the name came from for prop, that drug. It just kind of popped in my head. In this story too with there's a character named Perth Collins. He's not a member of the band. He's a friend of Cooper's. Cooper makes friends with him. But when people learn Perth's history, I mean, Perth has a really, really, really troubled childhood, and extremely troubled childhood. As both his parents were. There's a chapter in there, I think they're on page 91, the haircut chapter. In the background of that chapter, I have the music from Matters, Matterrs. If you go to my YouTube account, you can find a playlist for Matt. That's playing in the background while Perth's cutting Cooper's hair. Perth doesn't know that Cooper's a DEA agent, by the way. So he spills his guts what his childhood was like. But with Perth, both his parents were drug addict alcoholics. He had a brother who died because he was deformed because of his mother's drug abuse when she was pregnant. He's got one sister sitting in prison for bank fraud. He's got a younger brother. And I didn't realize when I was doing the editing process the last few years on this that Perth's younger brother, Taylor, would pop up in the story. But by the time you actually meet Taylor, he's about 14, in the story, because he's in Ohio. By the time you actually meet Taylor, you already know all about him. And, I'm hoping that the readers can go, oh, this poor kid. His mother's in jail for pending a trial for vehicular manslaughter. She was driving drunk behind the wheel and killed his dad. He's in foster care. He can't find his brother Perth because when Perth was 18, he left home, moved to LA, and legally changed his name and ghosted everybody, his family, friends, everybody. He ghosted them. So poor Taylor doesn't know where his brother's at. But but the bad guys can figure that out, and they're looking for some leverage, so they go to scoop him up, for leverage. But yeah, then some really crazy stuff happens to that poor kid. But by the time the readers get to that chapter, it's like, oh wow, they already know what he's like. They already know who, what his life is like, and how screwed up that poor kid's life is, because of the haircut chapter. So to me, I don't know, writing to me is still different. I mean, I write for myself, but like I said, there's a lot of stuff in there for this type of audience. That they're going to get a lot out of it, other readers won't. And we got a break, don't we, Gigi?
Yeah, you mentioned the haircut chapter. That reminds me of a whole chapter of my sister's life. But that's another story for another day. Now, one thing I do... so, like you clarified earlier, real quick before we go to break. So there are a couple of your books that directly intersect as far as the set and setting, not to mention the story, right? But don't all of your books, with the exception of one or two, they all take place in the same universe, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so
I think Bristol even takes place in the same universe, but that's a historical novel. But yeah, they all take place in the same universe.
Right.
And I had 3 best-selling authors tell me that we got a break, Gigi.
Yeah, we do. And but yeah, I think, I don't know, that'd be a cool thing maybe to do sometime. Maybe next time we come on, we can do a little giveaway with the books that have to relate to each other, and do a little promo code for that. And but all the same, because it's funny, Casper, is I specifically, before I asked you on the show, I went to my dad's house where I've left a bunch of boxes of stuff untouched for about 5 years. And I went there and grabbed one box. The box I grabbed was my box of books, because that's where all of your books got mistakenly placed. And I was actually reading Ages Past these last few days, and which is where I started, actually. That was the first book that I ever read of yours.
Which one was that?
Ages Past.
Oh yeah, that's a young adult novel.
Yeah, I love it though. I love it.
People love that story. It's Jermac is really good. And the thing about that, what I'm writing, we got a break, Gigi.
Yeah, we do. All right, so we'll get back to all this. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Shift Happens here for the Fringe FM. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our co-host, JP, from, what the hell is your new website called?
We'll talk about it later.
We'll talk about it later. But he's Reperceptions Podcast in the Spreaker chat, if you're wondering who that is. That's JP, and we'll be back here in just a few short minutes with our guest, guerrilla novelist Casper Parks, and his new book, Accidental Destiny. Don't go anywhere.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting, thefringe.fm, Napa Valley, California, Little Rock, Arkansas.
Tired of talking about the weather? No, Shift. Well, Shift Happens is here to fulfill your desires as you reach that point in life where you crave tantalizing conversation about reality, ufology, the occult, and the conspiracies within, while simultaneously finding yourself desperately in need of your very own theme music, which we've got plenty of that too. So be sure to tune in to Shift Happens every Friday night from 7 to 9 Pacific, right here on the Fringe FM. Because the weather sucks, and you need some theme music.
Ever seen an extraterrestrial? It can be hard to believe they exist unless you've seen one for yourself. What if I told you I've seen them my whole life, but have never had a witness who shared the encounter with me? Now, what if I told you I saw 4 of them, 2 with blue skin, and there are over 20 witnesses to this CE5 event? My new book, The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, documents actual accounts from real witnesses, many of which have gone on record to attest to this otherworldly reality. Be a part of the quantum paradigm shift that is taking place right now. Go to johnpolkmedia.com to get your copy of The Blue Beings, Visitation at the UFO Conference, on sale right now at johnpolkmedia.com. That's JOHNPOLK media.com.
This is Ronnie LeBlanc, author of Monsterland, Encounters with UFOs, Bigfoot, and Orange Orbs, and you're listening to Shift Happens on KTLK, The Fringe FM.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting. We rock the paranormal talk.
taste of my misspent love. From the day incarcerate, feel my heart break up. Ain't born to lose, baby, born to win. I'm so goddamn sick, baby, it's so sad.
Oh my goodness, and we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, let me do a thing. Thing is done. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for the Fringe FM. This is Shift Happens. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our co-host of the evening, JP.
Hey there. How you feeling, Gigi? You look pretty good. You look well rested.
Yeah, no, I literally slept for 13 hours last night. Long story, but much deserved. Much deserved. Again, just want to remind you guys, first of all, we're here with Casper Parks with his new book, Accidental Destiny. We'll get back to that in just a minute here. I do want to remind you guys that the surprise conference, that's right, from the good folks over at the Conscious Life Expo, they're doing a conference this September at the Hilton LAX, September 17th through the 19th. Get there while you can status. We'll be giving away some, what do I say? We'll be giving away some stuff. How about that? Related to that conference in the upcoming weeks. And if you happen to be in the UK, they're doing a simul conference at the same time at the Hilton and Metropole in London. The same dates, September 17th through the 19th. Go to theconsciouslifeexpo.com. Tell them Gigi sent you. And, I mean, you won't get anything for saying that, but that'll help me. So, there you go. But, for real, how long has it been? I think the last real conference was, let's see, that would have been Conscious Life 2020. February of 2020. We haven't had a big conference since, with the exception of UFO MegaCon, which I couldn't make, but, I've been talking to several of the other Fringe FM hosts here on the Fringe FM, and we're going to be quite present at that conference, and we might even have presents for you. So, definitely come check it out, and you can get the whole list of speakers there. A lot of good ones. Damian Brinkley, Linda Moulton Howe, I mean, you name it. I think, if I'm not mistaken, maybe, you know what, I'm not going to say what I don't know, but just those two names in itself is enough to tease you. So get there while you can, consciouslifeexpo.com. All right, with that, quick shout out to one of our great sponsors, our good friends over there at Got Hemp Extracts. That's gothempextracts.com. Makers of some of the best CBD products in the world, and the reason why is because they use the nanoparticulate process when it comes to formulating their CBD, which there's only a handful of corporations around the world that can actually afford to do so. And what that means is, on a molecular level, they are broken down, the compounds are broken down so much smaller to where your body absorbs so much more of it that it makes your run-of-the-mill CBD absolutely useless compared to this. And they have everything from vape cartridges to regular CBD oil to pre-rolled CBD joints, canned cold brew coffee with nanoparticulate CBD infused in it, and everything in between. And if you go to gothempextracts.com, use the promo code SHIFTHAPPENS, you will save yourself 10% off of your order. And just get there while you can status. That's it. Get there while you can status. Now, so So, what I was going to get into before the break, I got into a little bit, but Casper. So, because I know most of your books take place in the same universe, right? And then on top of that, there's a couple of books, like you said, that directly interact with each other as far as their story. But even the ones that don't, they're still in the same universe, right? But
right, Ages Past is in the same universe as this. Idea was mentioned. Yeah, I mean, with each book, there's improvement, and there comes a point where I just have to stop, put it out there, see what it does, and move on to the next book. And I've lingered on this one way too long. I think Accidental Destiny would have done better about 4 years ago than it's doing now, just because of the content in it. I use the name guerrilla novelist in there when I first started publishing for two reasons. One, I'm an independent publisher. I publish my own stuff. Number two, you got to jump through a lot of hoops. You do all your copyrights and everything else, the book covers. I do all the formatting for the print, put how the pages appear and all that. Yeah. But also guerrilla in that guerrilla warfare. And I say I got one thing in there, laying it between the lines, where something that'll be in a story that this audience might recognize right away as somebody who's not into this kind of stuff that a lot is on these type of shows. Later on, something will pop up on the news, and they'll go, "Oh wow, where did I read that?" So it kind of helps to set it in their consciousnly. And also, I believe in modern day parables. For example, and Idea mentioned this because, sent me some texts back and forth when he was reading it. And there's some syntax errors in there, but some of those are in there on purpose to get someone's attention and make them stop and think. For example, I might have the sentence wrong because I'm doing it off the top of my head. Within himself, he stood alone and vowed, never to allow violence or whatever. So within himself, he stood alone. That's kind of like a syntax error, I think, but it gets people to stop and think and look at that sentence and see what it says. Because ultimately, we have friends and a lot of support. Ultimately, we stand alone within ourselves. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Right. So, so sometimes I'll do a syntax error. Like, I think that's a syntax error. I don't know. I was in remedial English through grade school, junior high, high school, even in college. I got in remedial English. I didn't graduate. I got a year and a half of college, and I went to a Bible college and seminary for a year. Didn't take any Bible classes, and then I went to another university for a semester. So I was always in remedial English. Because to me it just doesn't make sense. And sometimes, Ralph Codd is a best-selling Western author, and he has other books as well. He's got over 75 books published. One of his more recent ones dealt with the Kennedy assassination. But at any rate, he said to me, grammar is sometimes a matter of opinion. And I've had that. I had one of Isaac Asimov's final editors that he had go over, I think it was Perceptual Threshold, and he chewed me up and spit me out. As well he should. I mean, I need to get chewed up and spit out by him, But an agent out in New York set up with him.
You did mention earlier you made some mistakes in that book. Is there anything you could point to, what? Give us an example.
Like a grammar error or a comma or something. Right.
Science-wise or technically.
Technically? Well, with science fiction, you take a lot of liberty with things, and you almost have to. Like with Ages Past, I took a lot of liberty with stuff. There's one thing I think I would have done a little differently in that is that, some of the reptilian aliens in there, their engines in their spaceships are generating their anti-gravity through diesel engines. But I originally wrote that story in like 1992, 93. It's a long time ago. Ages Past, I build, the characters build a face on Mars. The pyramids are there. I want people to really, like with Ages Past, like to tickle the heart, give it a slight squeeze, twist, and rip it out. I cried when I wrote that story a number of times, ages past. I literally actually cried. Just because it was, in a couple spots, because it was just so moving, especially at the end. I just literally sobbed. And even when I went into the rewrites and the edits, every time I get to certain parts of the story, I couldn't help it, I just cried. Because the story moved me that much. It moved me that much. I still think it's a great, great story. It's difficult because, like, right now I'm working on the second book in the series, but I'd have to pull it up, 17 pages of notes for the third story in the series. But Jermac from Ages Past showed up in the third book in the series. So, which is Accidental Destiny. Then there's the next story, which is another title, Destiny. And then the third book in the series. So I got the cover art done already for the third book in the series, which I showed to Brad. I think I showed that to Gigi, the cover art. But writing is, I don't know, to me it's storytelling. And you guys have a question, jump in if you throw me a question.
Well, one thing I was going to say, when it comes to your, because like you said, there are some grammatical errors throughout some of your books. But to me, the way I analogize that is like, it's kind of like Jimi Hendrix, right? Like, yeah, he played his guitar not only backwards, but upside down and backwards.
Yeah.
But he still came up with some of the best shift of all time, all right?
Yeah, Van Halen, same thing.
Grammar Nazis right now are like pointing fingers at Gigi saying, how dare you? I'm kind of old school, but I'll be honest, here was my downfall. I started blogging in about 2003, and when I blogged, I had my own set of grammar rules because I was writing mainly, it was like a journal, first of all. I didn't really expect, much participation. It turned into something else, but the point was when I would blog, I would, I just had my own style, and a lot of it wasn't grammatically correct. It was really more to get the idea out. And so now when I write more formally, it's a battle between that kind of my rules and the rule. So I understand exactly how that goes.
And dude, I get
the grammar was invented. I can't remember when. I read it a couple months ago. Who invented the whole grammar thing? And some grammar rules are there, and some are made to be broken.
Some of them are preposterous, though. Really,
yes,
if you think about
I agree.
it.
And I don't, when you're reading this book, if you come across an indie artist that and you go to my YouTube account to find it, these indie artists are scattered all over the place. Some are on YouTube, some aren't. Some are on SoundCloud, some aren't. Some are on Spotify, some aren't. I mean, they're all over the place. But if you go listen to it, like on YouTube or whatever, or on SoundCloud, and you can leave a comment, hey, I read Casper Parks' book mentioned your song, and I like it or something, give them some positive feedback. Jacob Reese Thornton, Jacob and the Daisy Chain, just released a song from upcoming EP, Swan Dive, and he talks about, in the comments of the video, it just released yesterday, where you throw your stuff out there, and it's so difficult to get traction on the internet now. Daniel Porter, Brad follows him and his wife. He has a new band out with his brother. It's a what do you call those? Oh, man. It's a 3-piece band, trio. I forget what you call those. It's like, ZZ Top is a 3-piece band. There's a term for it. I can't think of what it is top of my head. Oh man, I feel stupid because I spent so many years in the music industry. The rocker would know what we're talking about. But
well, the rocker's here in the chat room right now.
Yeah, he's in the chat room. Yeah, I can't be in Discord. I can't find the link for that. Sorry, guys. But yeah, it's difficult for anything right now to make a living as an artist. Period. Whether it's writing books or doing music, it's extremely difficult. I mean, word of mouth is extremely important. Right now, amazingly, apparently on TikTok, book reviews are trending. So if someone here's got a TikTok account, do a review of Accidental Destiny and throw it out there, man, with whatever hashtag is going on. But yeah, it's, you got to share the links, you got to, and everything. But I think when people read the story, Accidental Destiny, there's a lot in there. And the same thing with Ages Past too, though, even coming from darkness, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in this, within the community, the UFO, UAP research community, that is in those stories. And I was years and years ahead of my time for a lot of that. I kind of feel like Accidental Destiny right now is getting drowned out by the whole UAP congressional conference thing and the Black Vault.
Black Vault, yeah.
Thank you. My hearing impairment. I don't hear certain vowels and consonants anymore.
Well, there's no need.
Yeah, so the secret classified report's only 17 pages.
Yeah, but we only got 9.
Yeah, we got 9 of the 17. And then you subtract the intro and the exit, it's probably only 7 pages. But we'll see what happens. It's kind of something's coming down the pike, I think. I really, really do. I believe that the United States will be knocked off. I shouldn't use the phrase knocked off. We'll either be knocked off or the United States will step back from the world stage.
Yeah, let's just say that
I think that keeps up with biblical prophecy.
They're treading water as it speaks, as we speak right now.
We're not dealing with the wanton greed in this country, the corporations and everything, the corporate state. I like to use the term corporate state now. I think it's better than using deep state because it gives a definite corporate state. You look at the part of like the corporate state or deep state would be, you look at the current infrastructure bill. Okay, they're throwing us a $3.5 billion to help bring high-speed internet out to rural areas, and in the form of grants. Okay, well, who are they giving these grants to? The telecom companies, and then they're going to run the cables out there, but we're paying for it. Okay, but they're going to claim ownership of it and bill whatever it is they feel like billing. That's like corporate state stuff. If that makes sense. So it's like I mentioned earlier with healthcare, with the health insurance profits being so high. So that's corporate state and the government together, where they're pulling so much money away from the working class. It's incredible. But yeah, it's something's going to have to break, because people can't afford rent, they can't afford gasoline. There's so much income inequality that's not being addressed, and man, I don't want to get political, Gigi and JP. That's one thing I try to avoid. It's hard to avoid.
Go ahead. No,
you're right on point. I'm sorry, Gigi. You're right on. You're right on point. I tell people right now, the most obvious divide, it's so clear as day, is when you look at gasoline. And if you look at stocks, people had been, you had all the big banks, everyone's been predicting $100 barrels of crude oil. All right. And they've been saying that since last year, when it was in the $20s or $30 range. Now, people who could invest, who have that money sitting aside to go buy crude oil, made an absolute killing. Most of us are hardworking, and we're just going to the gas pump and paying, $1 more, $1.50 more per gallon at the tank. So not only are we not able to invest in crude and make some money, we're going to the gas station, filling up so we can go to our garbage job and pay more at the pump. So there is a smashing of the middle class. So sorry to cut in on
Figure
that.
this one out, okay? So the U.S. is now one of the largest oil producers in the world, okay? We got pipelines coming in from Canada across the U.S., danger to our environment, and we're shipping crude oil out overseas, okay? But then we're importing oil at the same time, okay?
Right.
And here's the question. Why are we exporting oil and then importing oil? Because all that's doing is raising the price.
Because you need to watch the movie Vice.
Which movie was that?
I think it's called Vice, right, JB?
Oh, yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And,
Yeah. So, but yeah, the corporate states, and
didn't hit.
I worry, I really worry about the United States. I think the United States can come out of this all right. But as far as politics go, you can't trust either side. I don't care if it's the left or the right, Republican, Democrat. It's something in between. You can't. You can't trust any of them. You just can't. You can't do it. So, but yeah, it's you can't trust any of them. So, but we're staring down another break here. If someone has a question in one of the chats, and I'm not in Discord, so make sure you throw it in caps so we can see it.
Yeah. By the way, like Casper just said, if you have something that you want us to actually like read on the air or respond to, try to put it in all caps because the chat rooms fly by and we can't see everything. But here is an interesting comment from, again, her name's in blue, so I have to dip my head over here. Allie V. She says, wow. Now, I'm not sure which part of the conversation this came up in, but I'm sure one of you two can pick up on where this leaves off. She says, wow, I just never imagined it would happen on TikTok. I thought TikTok was mainly for high school kids who do random dancing videos. I guess people are realizing that they can use the platform for really marketing their brand. And not so surprising when you look at who
owns
owns
Generation Z that's
TikTok.
doing the book reviews.
Yeah. Well, there's
so they
that.
don't read.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll tell you what though. I guess technically I have a TikTok. I've never posted anything on there. I watch. There's this one really funny lady from like South Korea or something, and she kills it. And
I know. I think I watched the same one. She's hilarious.
I don't know. I'd be surprised because she doesn't have that many followers. But I guess what she's getting at is like, damn, we're even using TikTok now to, perpetrate, all this nonsense that's going on, which seems kind of, like she's kind of saying, it's like, really, TikTok? TikTok seems like a goofy thing that people post fun, goofy stuff on. But yet, little do we know, not only who is it run by, but what kind of shift gets highlighted so I don't know. Are you guys that surprised? Because I'm really not.
Yeah, I'm not. It's but then again, it might go the way of Snapchat.
See, Snapchat would be great if they didn't. Well, maybe that's what's great about it, because you send a Snapchat and it disappears after a few hours, right? Which is cool if you're like, communicating with drug dealers or something. But if you actually have something to say, you kind of want that to be out there, right? I feel like that's why Snapchat didn't really hang around. By the way,
we got a break.
We do, but we don't have. Actually, yes, we do. We have to take this break. By the way, I'll announce I've been using this iPod Nano for all of our music stuff. I've had this iPod since 2005, and just today, it decided that it can't turn on unless it's plugged in. So, ladies and gentlemen, give me your prayers, because if this thing dies, we're all screwed. So, please say your love and prayers to my specific iPod. And with that, I don't know. What do you think, Casper? Do you want to take some phone calls at the end, or should we just keep on hanging out?
It's up to you.
Oh, we should. We should.
Yeah, we should.
Should what? Which one?
Take calls.
Take calls?
Yeah, take calls.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
If anybody out there wants to call in, call in.
Okay. Well, we'll test the phone lines during the break, and we'll see if we can do that. And hopefully we can. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Shift Happens here for the Fringe FM. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our co-host, JP. And we're here tonight with Casper Parks, and we're talking about his new book, Accidental Destiny. And we'll be back here in just a few short commercially minutes. Don't go anywhere.
I've got a secret I cannot say. They might have moved there to give it away.
Are you thinking about creating a podcast but don't know where to start? Do you really want to have to learn all this stuff? Individual track processing, enhance and improve sound quality, edit out those awkward processing slips, mix multiple clips and tracks, fix and balance noise levels, and perfect volumes, deliver consistent sound. Live podcast production, show notes and SEO optimization, episode upload to hosting, live call screening, balance levels and loudness measure broadcast standards, full branding packages with logo design, podcast site, website, show artwork, video and audio production. Got to do video because everybody's doing video. Branded video graphics. Or do you just want to get on the mic and get your ideas out there? The Fringe FM team is here to help with all of your podcasting, audio and video production needs. From simple podcast audio enhancement, our professional production staff will make it easier than ever to create the podcast you desire.
The biggest thing is time. A lot of people that podcast don't have time. Time is like a really valuable currency next to cost. It's even more important than money. Why waste your time doing all this stuff? This is what we can do for you. Think about like the hours and the money you're gonna have to put into doing all this by yourself. Doesn't make sense. It's gonna take you months to launch. If we did it for you, we could do it tomorrow.
Visit thefringe.fm, join our team, and get jump started on your podcast today.
Everything is awesome. Everything is cool when you're part of a team.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
This is Jess Rogie, host of the Rogie Report, and you're listening to the Fringe FM, KTLK, Digital Broadcasting.
Hi, folks. These uncertain times can cause uncertain gut slowdown. Worry and fear can wreak havoc on our digestion, making it hard to feel optimum. Bloating, less energy, and occasional constipation can slow you down in your daily activity. Try Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. Life Change Tea can help get things moving so you can get that boost of energy you need. Life Change Tea helps protect and defend your health from intruders. It's a weird time right now with all the uncertainty, so gear up and defend your health. Where do you go to purchase? Log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. The specials are on the front page, and we have numerous supplements to help combat intruders. It's time to take charge of our health and to feel better in life. It's time to live. Again, GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. GetTheTea.com. It is so worth it. GetTheTea.com.
I'm Dave Cruz of Beyond the Strange. You're listening to KTLK Digital Broadcasting. This is The Fringe FM.
Hey, is that a new music app?
Yeah, check it out. Surfer Music Discovery. It links to thousands of online stations, but the twist is you see the song names and artists that are now playing live.
That's different. No guessing. Looks like a waterfall of music.
So many formats. Rock, oldies, country, R&B, jazz, and a whole lot more.
How's that spelled?
Surfer. S-U-R-F-R.
Is it expensive?
It's free. No need to sign up or sign in.
Get the Surfer Music app free from Google Play or the App Store.
Hey, Fringe listeners, Dave Cruz here, reminding you that Beyond the Strange airs live Monday evenings at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on The Fringe FM. BTS is your one-stop shop for the paranormal, the bizarre, and most of all, the strange. Join me and co-host Black Sky Paranormal's Russ Bailey as we discuss topics such as aliens, ghosts, Bigfoot, and much more. Also, we talk with profound guests, authors, researchers from all over the world, and we take your calls live on the air. Go to BeyondTheStrange.com and learn more about the show, guests, times, free registration for our newsletter, merch, and much more. Again, that's Beyond the Strange, Monday evenings, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern, right here on KTLK Digital Broadcasting, The Fringe FM. And as always, stay strange.
KTLK Digital Broadcasting. We rock the Paranormal Talk.
This is Tom Sherman. Down here at Banning College, we're promoting a blood drop. Oh, shit.
Welcome to the Sound of America. It was like the AM 580. Lay back, the sheep, little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, little lamb, little lamb.
So Adam the apple. God told me so to my face. You cannot be saved. Follow me and I will. Good to know that he's walking with me. Big rock as a weapon. The devil is a black stone. Into the fog. Let him cast the first stone. Jesus, Jesus. And you have fallen into the love that needs to be discerned by the Lord. Hallelujah, y'all. I want to hear a couple of hallelujahs.
Life's a study of dying. How to do it right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Fringe FM. This is Shift Happens. I'm your host, Gigi, along with our co-host, JP. What's happening, buddy? Guess what, buddy?
I will enjoy this one. That's all I was going to say.
All right, there you go. There you go. We got your back. We got your back. All right, so here we are, the final stretch of Shift Happens here. Somebody's working on something. We'll see what that means. But anyway, yeah, welcome back. We're here with Casper Parks in his new novel, Accidental Destiny. Now,
it's a rock and roll novel.
It is a rock and roll novel, isn't it? Now, that's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the phone lines. The phone lines are open. 1-800-588-7335. You know what? I'm not even sure if that's the right number. 1-800-588-7335. Yeah, that sounds about right. I don't know. Joe, can you post a number in the Discord? I think that's right? 1-800-588-7335. Yeah, no, it could be. Could not be.
I'm gonna read something out of the book real quick.
Let's do that.
This is part 2 of the book. It's called Accidental Contempt. I wrote this back in the early mid-90s. It's called She Weeps. It's very current to today. Damaged and bleeding, she weeps. Talking in her sleep, children cry out. Ranting and raving, lunatics to behold. Pulling the sword, firing the gun. Where does justice begin and end? Smothered by gray shadows, she weeps. Waking from a slumber, children gasp for life. Tripping and stumbling, false narratives be told. Touching the flames, spreading the blame. Where do lies begin and end? Beneath neon-tainted skies, she weeps. Children of darkness, blinded by eternal night. Amid nightmares and illusions, searching for the light. Stomping the ground, fighting the rage. Where does forgiveness begin and end? And I wrote that back in the early 90s. And it just kind of feels like it fits today with everything going on around the world, the United States, everywhere. You know, it just kind of feels like it fits.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but it sounds like you were on the path of misinformation and people revolting, getting angry and upset about it. Is that kind of where you were going with that?
Yes, to a degree, yeah. And you know, gray shadows, for example. You could take gray aliens from that if you want to. Neon-tainted skies, of course, you know, when's the last time you were able to look up and see the stars with all the light pollution that we have? You know, so, but yeah, to me it's, you know, I write what I feel inside, you know, and I'm hoping other people can kind of feel that too, but, you know, it's important to me to just kind of to try and be as realistic as possible with the dialogue. In this book, these characters, Ephraim Tolliver, Perth Collins, Cooper Reeves, smoke a lot of weed. There's a lot of pot smoking going on in the story, an awfully lot of it. The characters in the story, Cooper Reeves does lead vocals and guitar, keyboard. Randall O'Connor does lead guitar vocals. Eva Cortez, bass guitar vocals. Kyle Smithfield, drums. So yeah, the band has a Twitter account. I gave them a Twitter account, Gigi and JP. I actually gave the band a Twitter account.
Ah, beautiful.
That's
Yeah,
great.
yeah. I thought, oh, it's a fictional band. I'll give them a Twitter account. So I gave them a Twitter account, but I don't really use it very often. But it's there. But yeah, we'll see how the story does. You know, I said over 30 years in the making. And I kept stopping, going to other stories, and it's, you know, these stories will sometimes write themselves. Like, you know, I'm working on the second book in this now, and you know, I'll see images and stuff like that. It's a little difficult now because I don't smoke in the house anymore. So I used to, like, when I'm writing, I'm typing away. A keyboard is like an instrument to me, you know, and the word processing program. And I'll lean back, light up a cigarette, and think a minute, and then set it down, and the cigarette will burn out to ash, and the ashtray I'll be typing away. You know, so the number to call in is 1-800-588-0335. That's 800-588-0335.
I'm relatively sure about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah. I try to be really current. Ideas saying that too. I try to be really current in my stories. And when you write something in the near future, it's, you know, you try to predict something that may or may not happen. And Coming from Darkness, because I wrote that originally, I think in '95. You know, they're rounding up the homeless people and put them into camps because there's so many of them. And now the homeless problem has gotten so bad. And the previous puppet we had in the White House compared to the one now, he talked about actually rounding up the homeless people and putting them into camps. It was like, wow, okay. You know, so something I'd mentioned in the story got mentioned in politics, you know, 20-some years later. It's kind of always bizarre when that happens. But I don't get everything right. You know, it's not like being a prophet or something. You know, definitely not that at all. But we'll see what happens with this whole UAP thing. I think it's going to get quiet for a little while on it, to be honest with you, Gigi and JP. I think it's gonna come up, blah 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 blah, and it's gonna get real quiet for a while again, and then it'll bubble back up again. You know,
and that's great. And I wonder if even like, maybe different pockets in the, in different countries. I don't know if is your book translated in other languages?
No.
Oh, okay. So
we got that kind of money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that works, but it seems like a popular thing to do. But I guess you never know when some a little bit of something you say catches on into the zeitgeist, if you will, and then that could that could trigger some sales here and there. So
yeah. I mean, this book could sit there and just spin its wheels for 2 or 3 years, and all of a sudden, bam, something happens. Celebrity or somebody tweets it out or whatever. It's always a possibility. I noticed, like in the UK now, for example, I just discovered a new band out of the UK called Inhaler this week, and there's that band's names in 2 or 3 other countries too. But these guys are really good. They've been together since like high school, but in the UK, I noticed that these bands will support each other. I mean, you got big bands in the UK that are posting these smaller bands that are coming up and saying, hey, check out these other guys. And when I'm on social media, Twitter, I don't do Facebook, but you don't see many artists that are popular and famous tweeting out these new artists that are coming up. I'm seeing more rock and roll bands coming out of Canada and out of the UK than I am out of the United States right now. But it may just be because it's not popping up on my radar.
Well, Casper, I am posting a link right now, and it's to the Barnes & Noble page where your book is for sale. Unbelievably, Accidental Destiny is on sale for 99 cents. I mean, come on, people. Let's check that thing out. Wow.
Yeah, it's more important for me to get the word out.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's in here than to make a bunch of money. And believe me, I'm not wealthy. You don't make money writing a book. I mean, it's really rare. There's someone out there who's, if I said his name, people know what I'm talking about. He wants over $47 for his book. I'm like going, dude.
Why?
that's insanity, man. It's insane. And I'm like thinking, come on. I mean, I set the paperback 6x9 at $14.50. I'm really not making much money on that, seriously. But I'd rather have it so people can afford it. If people can't afford to hardly to pay rent, to put gas in their vehicle, and everything else, I want them to be able to go, oh wow, yeah, I can do 99 cents for an ebook, or I can do $14.50 for the book. Right now, it's only on Amazon. A paperback should be Barnes & Noble in August sometime, I'm told. But yeah, it's such a struggle out there for any kind of artist, whether it's music or writing. But I think teaching, fiction is a really great way to teach people or to raise awareness on certain issues.
Yeah, I agree.
But you try not to get political, and it can be difficult sometimes because when you start talking corporate state and shadow governments and all that, you're going to get political because it involves politics, because politics are how they control people. So any kind of like I wouldn't call it an MK Ultra program, but the way to control people, mind control, you go right straight for the emotions, and look at how they demonized John Podesta, and which none of it was true, but they went right straight for the emotion, of people. So, and that's really part of the mind control. It opens the window or it gets your foot in the door. So you need to really guard yourself that you don't get taken advantage of by any politician or anything else, or any like religious / cult leader, they always go right straight for the emotion. That can be an entryway in to control your lives. And excuse me. But yeah, that's mind control can be like that. It's one of the things they do. So, but yeah, if you got a question in the chat rooms, put them all caps. Again, sorry I can't be in Discord. I don't know where the link is for that thing. But
yeah, it's all right. All Discord wants to know is all the music I'm playing. And I've been sharing the links. And not to mention, I gave out the wrong phone number earlier, so no wonder nobody's calling. I did post it in one of the chat rooms, but that's only the core audience, and at this point, it's kind of too late.
Yeah, there's another band that popped up on my radar recently. Is Oceans on Mars, out of the UK. They're really, really good. Tom A. Smith. I actually got Tom A. Smith's blessing to put 3 of his songs in the book. And because I did communicate with him, got his blessing. Got Daniel Porter's mom's blessing to do that as well. But yeah, I listed a bunch of muses in the book, present-day muses. So, and a lot of those are like indie artists. Some of them are in the book, some of them aren't. I have to try to keep the music style with where I want to be. And it's like in the second book, there's a teenage girl in there, and she has a playlist. I give these characters playlists. Like Casey Masson, for example, is on Cooper Reeves' playlist. It's like, I couldn't find a band that would fit this girl. And then this week, Inhaler popped up on my radar, and I think that's a good fit for her. So somehow I'll incorporate 1 or 2 of her songs into her playlists in the course of the story. Because people do listen to music when they're out and about. A lot of foul language in the story. There's absolutely no sex in the story at all. It's going to feel like there's sex all over the place, but there's not. There's no sex in the story at all. It's going to feel like there is. It's not sex, drugs, and rock and roll. It's sex or something, rock and roll, guns, and drugs. But there's no sex. But it might feel like it, But I give Perth an interesting, what do I want to call it? I give Perth an interesting day job that he's doing. Which involves pornography, but there's no porn in the story at all. But for example, a couple hours later, riding eastward, the lights of Barstow, California, sparkle behind him. An algorithm from the music streaming service streamed saltwater rain from Casey Masson through Bluetooth speakers inside of his helmet. He's riding a motorcycle. Then the song fit his mood and his passing scenery, blah, 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 blah. Then later in that same chapter, as a reflective melody of Casey Masson's memory lane flowed amid the desert night air, Cooper's thoughts reflected rapidly. He thinks about his childhood briefly. So I try to incorporate the music and the title of a song into a sentence or paragraph. And legally, I'm okay, as long as you don't make the character in the story the musician. You can make a reference to a band or something like that. But if you make the musician a character in the story, then that would put me in legal jeopardy, which I won't do. But there's a spot in there where they're in a seafood restaurant getting something to eat before a gig, and it's a 70s restaurant is their theme, and I run through a whole stream of 70s music in the background of the story. And to me, it's kind of like felt like the thing to do because it's such a rock and roll story. It's a music story, Just make sure if you listen to these indie artists and you find them on YouTube or whatever, leave a comment. They found you through Casper's book or whatever. That's cool. Share these links up on social media, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or wherever. Share some links out there. Help me get the word out on this. It's going to take a lot. To advertise for one day on Twitter. I looked it up today. To advertise for one day is $50, GG. To advertise for one day on Twitter. That's high.
Yeah,
that's expensive.
That's just stupid.
Yeah, I won't do that. I'm not going to do that. But yeah, it's paperback. Idea is right though. A lot of people prefer the paperback yet. So, and I do. I like to read paperbacks. I really do. So, but CasperParks.com, Accidental Destiny. is the name of the is the book. And like I said, it's the start of a series. It was a few years ago. The third book in this, I was listening to Tyler Simmons. It's up on SoundCloud. I'm already fallen, and I was listening to that going to my mom. She's since passed, and I had 3D images playing out in front of me while I'm driving my pickup truck to my mom's of that story playing out in front of me while I'm trying to drive. It's and that song was kind of an inspiration, kind of like put me in the right frame of mind. I'll listen to music, not all the time. I'll listen to music a lot, and I'll put it on repeat. When I was doing the editing process, Tom A. Smith's song "Carry Me Off," which is available only at Bandcamp, was the song my go-to for action. Because it just had that feel to it, for good action. Audio books are. It's people keep telling me to do my own audio books, and I'm always I hate the sound of my own voice. I don't know. The sound of my own voice can always bother me.
I love your voice, and you need to do audiobooks, my friend, and you need to do the voice for them. Absolutely.
I think I could do it.
But hey, we'll convince you to do that another time, because we do have to go. Like you just said, ladies and gentlemen, CasperParks.com. You can find all of his books and links there. And like I said at the beginning of the show, Casper has been a guest on this show more than any other guest times a million. There's plenty of episodes with him. We even did a couple of specials on the B-Side channel as well. So definitely go check all that out at shifthappensradio.com. And definitely check the B-Sides and Rarities page for some of the specials we did. Also, I'm going to be doing a brand new show coming up this Tuesday with a good friend of mine, Colin, called, you know what? I'm not going to say what it's called yet, because we haven't quite... Anyway, so if you want to catch up with that, you want to hear a new fun show starting this Tuesday, follow me on Twitter at GGRabbit1. Again, that's at GGRabbit1. I will not be posting that on the Shift Happens one. And with that, we pretty much have to get out of here. Any last words, JP?
I am happy to announce that I have a copy of Accidental Destiny delivered to my Nook. I'm stoked. So I'll be checking that out. Thanks, Casper.
Thank you. And if you listen to some old shows, I did something with Gigi a few years ago about the LA riots in 1992.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure if it's somewhere in there.
That's what I was talking about.
That's a good episode. That's a good episode to listen to.
Yeah, that's
because
on
I was managing a rehearsal studio when that happened.
Yeah, that's on the B-Sides and Rarities channel, and which there's links to there on shifthappensradio.com. Now, real quick, last question. Allie V wants to know, Casper, what is your favorite band of all time? One answer, 1 second to answer. Go.
I can't answer for that right now.
Good
that
answer.
Changes.
Good answer.
I mean, 1993 is probably Nirvana. Now today,
Great
I couldn't
answer.
say.
Oh, and the elf coming in last minute with another GG Justin Bieber joke. How original. All right, and with that, ladies and gentlemen, we got a boogie on out of here. This has been Shift Happens here for the Fringe FM. This show is hosted and produced by yours truly, GG. Again, you can follow me on Twitter at GGRabbit1. And make sure to follow the show over at Shift Happens Pod and keep up with everything over at shifthappensradio.com. And then, of course, the Fringe FM as well. Associate producer is Brad Harris. You can follow him on Twitter at ADS Brad Harris. Co-host for the evening was JP. Where can they follow you, JP?
Well, you can check it out at Reperceptions on Twitter. Just Reperception.
At Reperception. So there you go. Special shout out to Eric Awakening Man, a roaming reporter, Dennis Koch, for the promotional goodness that he does, and Cortana for co-founding this show and making this all happen. And with that, all blames and faults go to Fran. That's right. Hashtag Fran's fault. All right, folks. Thanks for tuning in, but don't go too far, because coming up next right here on the Fringe FM is Lighting the Void with Joe Mother Bleepin' Rope. All right, we'll see you guys next week. Take care, folks.